Hello and welcome everyone, a new episode of Score Sheet. What about the EFA, the Egyptian Football Association? What about the Confederations Cup and the African Champions League? We do have a lot of actions which were taking place in the past 48 hours, but today I think it was the peak. We are going to discuss all these incidents and actions and others coming from all over the world in this episode of Score Sheet. But before we start, let me first welcome my dear guest live here in the studio, Mr. Mohammed Misbah, our sports analyst. Thank you very much for being with us.
Thanks a lot. Thank you. I appreciate it.
We are not going into the details of this EFA issue as it's a court decision. Yeah. And whenever it's a court decision, of course, it has our respect. But in your opinion, was it expected?
Actually, it was not expected because they tried several times to reach the decision and they failed. For sure, in a country level, all of us will respect the court decision. But the question about the FIFA.
Yeah, this is my question.
Yes.
Regarding this FIFA issue, because there are a lot of other incidents which took place in many places, and in specific in the Arab region and in the African continent. I think it's in Libya and in Kuwait.
Kuwait was a big deal.
And it's a big deal. And because of this, those countries were deprived from entering into FIFA international competitions because of what they called the country's intervention into the sports affairs.
Yes.
Do you think that something like that can happen or can be implemented in Egypt?
Yeah, because if we didn't solve it, it will be a big issue for us. The challenge here is that we are asking a lot for the new law to be not contradicting with the FIFA's laws. This is something is very important. But at this stage, I don't think it will be an issue because it will be sorted in a soft manner, I can say, in a discussion manner, in a win-win situation, I can say. But at the end of the day, because Aporida is part of the FIFA as well. So,
and because of this, I'm asking because I don't know why those legal procedures were not taken in the proper way, not to reach this result. You know, today in the morning, an Egyptian court dissolved the Egyptian Football Association, and now we do not have an EFA till the moment. Who was on top? Hani Abu-Rida. Hani Abu-Rida is a FIFA figure.
Yeah.
So but for me, it's contradictory.
But he's not responsible for the. He's the one who's nominated himself or he applied for the position, this is how we call it. But he's not the person responsible for the process itself.
Yeah.
This is the challenge. So he may be saying it wrong, but he can't correct it. And like Italians saying, usually we need to put the fish in the table.
Yeah.
What do we mean? That we need to discuss what's the issue, what's the process, make it lean, make it simple, agree on it, make it in a law. It's not that simple as I explained it now. But it should be in this manner because we'll face it. We are facing now with Aporida, and we faced it before with Al Ahly. We're talking about the biggest two football association organization in the country itself. So it needs to be treated differently. Yeah.
Amen to that. And okay, and as I said, we are not going to go into more details because this is a court issue.
Yeah.
But let's start immediately with our press digest, as we do have a lot of headlines and, as I said, a lot of actions, in specific on the African level, as we do have 4 Egyptian teams who are participating in the Confederations Cup and into the African Champions League. Wasteful Ahly claim uncomfortable lead over Bidvest in the Champions League first round. Wasteful, and I like the word because it's really described the 90 minutes of yesterday. The Wasteful Al Ahly side could only score a single goal at home against South Africans Bidvest Wits in the first leg of the Champions League round of 32 at Cairo's Salam Stadium on Saturday. A second-half header from Egypt's centre-back, or defender to be accurate, Ahmed Higazi, eventually proved the sole goal of the 8-time African champions, bagged at their home venue heading into the return leg in Johannesburg with an uncomfortable lead. I like those two words, wasteful and uncomfortable, if you want to elaborate.
To be honest, I'm seeing it from a different perspective because let us put the reality. We're playing as an Egypt or Ahly against a very strong team. And now it's ranked #1 in South Africa.
Yeah.
And it's beaten Sundowns, very recent. So we are not talking about about a weak team, I can say.
Yeah.
We don't have enough luck to face him in this stage, but this is the reality we faced. Hossein Badri, I think he treated the match better than before because he prepared for it. For the first time, long time back, he asked them to be in a campaign for 3 days before the match and he prepared for it. I was not expecting before the match that we have a huge result. 2 is the aim, 3 is a nice dream because we are playing against very organized team and very, I can say, a very good coach. I'm not saying it very bad because if we planned well for the second match in the Johannesburg, by the way, this match will be in a very small, narrow playground with 5,000 maximum as fans from them, and they're very close to the field itself. So we need to prepare for that. We need to prepare that we need to score there. This is something that's very important, otherwise it will be a critical situation. But overall, I think Ahly can pass because if you have a good preparation and Ahly now, I can say yesterday they can score the second and it will be perfect. But the reality is that we are not playing against a weak team. They're very organized.
Sir, it's not a weak team. And for me, there is no weak African teams anymore.
Today was a weak team against Zamalek, actually.
In a way.
Yes.
Okay, but I don't know what's going to happen there in the second leg because everything is possible. And now we should take into consideration that, I mean, whenever you are not evaluating well your rival, you are going to lose.
Yeah, that's true.
But the case for me with Al Ahly yesterday, that the lack of harmony. That they were the individualism, I can say.
Yes, that's true.
Or the lack of being coherent and cohesion inside the pitch. And to have Ahmed Hijazi as the scorer or the scorer of the sole goal of the game, for me, this is weird. Where is Abdullah Saeed? Where is Mu'min Zakaria, who were very much far from their level or their standard we are acquainted with? There's something wrong. I don't know what it is.
Hossein Al-Badri character is a person who's not taking a risk. And he have a good tools with hands and he's not utilizing yet. And he's not a person going for adventure. This is his profile, I can say. For example, Koulibaly, we didn't see him while he was scoring well before. He didn't prepare him. Yesterday, Hamoudi was very good in the time he played and he participated in a way or indifferent in the goal we scored. So this is the type of personality. He's relying 100% on Amr Gamal. While Amr Gamal, he scored recently, but yesterday he wasted a funny, I can say, trial on the goal. So this is the profile of the coach itself and the reflected in the team. At the end of the day, Hossein Al-Badri, he can do well, and he in the, for example, Egyptian or local one. When you go to Africa International, I hope that he's doing well, but
I hope our coaches are going to get rid of the Cooper syndrome of not to have risks or to prefer the defensive way. Let's go to today and to what happened today with the Zamalek 4-1, and this is a big tally for the Zamalek, meaning that relatively they are going to go to Nigeria with a comfortable result. But today, if we want to add that Ayman Hifni, Hussein Paulo, Sandy, those who scored, we should say thank you first. And why there are these ups and downs when it comes to Zamalek in specific? Because this is something which I really also cannot understand. They would play in a brilliant way in a match. And right after this match, in the second match, they play very weird with a low standard. I don't know also why.
First, when I'm saying that relatively the team is weak against Zamalek because the individual
for each team member is very poor. The goalkeeper is funny in terms of performance and the other player. So we don't have even one remarkable player who thinks that can be a dangerous player for us against us. I'm not seeing any critical position for Zamalek, except if we're talking about very poor teams. So I'm not seeing any risk for Zamalek in the next match, especially you're talking about the team at the end actually of the ranking in Nigeria now. He's almost the last team in terms of competition.
Surprises are always there when it comes to football.
Yeah, I agree, but if it's happened, we should blame ourselves if it's happened.
And when you were talking, by the way, about Al Ahly and about this Bidvest from South Africa, it's not Sundowns and it's not Orlando Pirates, for example.
Yes.
Maybe because we don't know much about their league.
That's true. Now they're in the top of the league, and they're competing with Sundown, and you can score against them easily. And already they were in the final in the Cup for South Africa.
Yeah.
And this team, 3 years back, one, I can say a businessman, he's responsible for the team. Actually, it's a university, and it's the team of the university, and the guy invested a lot in them. So we are playing, it's a potential team, by the way. Sundowns, even if you return it back, he was not that strong team. But money talks in football.
But we were acquainted to them more than others. I mean, Leopard of the Congoland, yes, Congo, and the Stade of Mali. I mean, we now are acquainted, even as Egyptians, with many of the African teams, according to being our rivals in many of the African competitions, whether it's the Champions League or the African Cup of the African Confederations Cup. Of course, congratulations. They had fun. El Zamalek today, they had fun, and I hope that they are going to continue the same way. We are expecting from them a lot. Inshallah, it's next Sunday where El Zamalek and Al Ahly are going to play against their South African and Nigerian rivals, respectively.
Yes.
Let's go to Smoha, which started the African journey with a 4-0 victory also. Smoha opened a Confederation Cup campaign with comfortable first leg win over humble Ulinzi. Smoha opened their CAF Confederations Cup campaign with a comfortable 4-0 first leg victory over Kenya's Ulinzi Stars in the competition round of 32 at Alexandria Borg Al Arab Stadium on Friday. Of course, congratulations. We wish them the best of luck. Islam Muharib did great as he scored twice. I mean, Ahmed Raouf, and I mean, they were great.
Yes.
But once again, you are going to say they were great because the rivals were weak, or Smoha did great?
First, actually, regarding Zamalek, this is happening, and the same for Smoha, because management is playing a very important role. In Zamalek, you'll find a lot of exchanges and a lot of rumors and a lot of perceptions, and this is making instability. We are talking about human at the end of the day. If I know today that the coach will continue or not, and this will be leading, this is reflecting badly. We're talking about the team. It's called the team. That's mean team. It's starting from the chairman or the CEO for the club, going to the simple position in the club itself. So, same for Smoha. They're doing very good. If they find the support till the end, if they find a kind of motivation for them, they can be in a good position. I'm not sure that they can win the cup because we are in very, very early stage. But the support here is very important, required. And it's required that if you give them the trust for the coach, keep it till the end. Because what's happened after that, that once there is a drop in the result, there's a kind of discussion and rumors and options to replace a player or to replace the coach. This is not healthy for any team. There is a time to do that, and there is a time to make a performance review for your coach and for your player. But making it after each match, this is what will guide us.
We are going to speak about this in detail because there are, I don't know if this is a coincidence or no, many situations like that are already repeated in many of the Premier Leagues.
That's true.
And in the international competitions. With Paris Saint-Germain and Barcelona, for example, when the owner of Paris Saint-Germain say that he has the full support for the head coach of his team, even after this disastrous result, chapeau. All what I can say. But we are still having a lot of other local news, as El Masri of Port Said, they were defeated from Digoliba, the Malian team. This was in Bamako, in the Mali capital. It was 2-0, and we hope that they are going to return back with high spirits to be able to compete in the second leg, which is going to take place also next week, inshallah, but it's going to be here in Egypt. Hussam Hassan.
The curve is going down, and they need to discuss the reason for that. If this is a motivation for the coach itself, or maybe internal issues. But it's not only about today, Mac. It's before. Curve for the team itself and the harmony went down. They start the league in a very good way, in a very I can say, motivated way. And now it's going down. It needs a kind of discussion about that. I'm not saying because the easy solution in Egypt, termination, or even start to raise names to the table, and this is the names maybe putting. Hossam and Ibrahim doing an extremely good job with Masri. I can't remember in the whole history for Masri that they reached what they reached now in league or even African competition.
Yeah.
So it needs a kind of discussion. It needs a kind of, I can say, plan for the future, because maybe the coach himself is not motivated enough to continue in the same city maybe. So it's kind of, I'm not seeing Masri's job easy in Port-Said, but it's not impossible.
It's not
Well, they have a good striker, so maybe they have still hope in that.
In my humble opinion, all the time for Hossam and Ibrahim in specific, all the time there is an unfinished job.
Oh, okay.
Unfinished job.
Yeah.
They did great even in Al Masriya Al Ittihad when they were in Bani Suif.
Yes.
They did great when they were in Al Masriya or Port-Said, when they collected a lot of players, even from the Division B.
Yes.
Of our league of Division B,
yes.
And they had this bundle of players with a harmony among them, just for a specific period of time. And right after that, as you've kindly mentioned, the curve is down.
Yes, because sometimes we don't have the plan. For example, when they have an agreement with the coach, sometimes they'll tell him, your job is for 3 years. And then, so you know that in 3 years you achieve more. But in Egypt, normally, we don't have a plan. Just hire him and see the result and evaluate. This is wrong. You should have a plan, you should have a strategy, and you're talking a lot about that. And it's never happened. Same with Hossam Ibrahim. The guy is doing a good job, and he did already last year.
Do you remember what they have done in Jordan, for example, to continue after the general, after Mahmoud Al-Gouaid?
They gave him a period, and they told him you will take the lead, and you will create a new leader, new generation, you'll go.
Maybe this is the nature of being head coaches, I don't know. But for Hossam and Ibrahim, before going into the coming headline, they moved from being players to coaches in no time.
Yeah, that's true.
And this is something which I didn't understand, how they had this shift.
Yes.
Because they should just spend some time studying, having courses, knowing well about what they are going to do, but they moved from being players to coaches in few months, for example.
Hossam's strategy is very simple in that. It's not, from his opinion, it's not education. It's two, motivation, and I can say the energy part. And the physical part. This is actually the two core points. And as you mentioned, attracting a young people to make them motivated.
And I think he said it more than once that he was already coaching the younger players in a way when he was in court.
It didn't work like that.
This is exactly what I wanted to say.
It didn't work like that, yeah.
To continue with our local news, Egypt to use video assistance for referees within a month. This was one of the decisions by the former Egyptian Football Association. I don't know if this now going to continue the same way or the coming board is going to change this. Video assistance for referees will be a reality at Egyptian League games next month. Assam Abdel Fattah, Egyptian FA official, said referees are to start training on the new technology as soon as possible to be ready to use it when the league resumes.
For me, it's, to be honest, I don't like to say it's funny, but it's strange because we should have a plan. We should have a strategy. We shouldn't take a reaction. We should have a crisis management. We don't have all that. All what I said now, we lack, very clear. While we have a people currently, actually yesterday or a few hours ago, should be responsible to do it. Everything is reaction. This has happened. By the way, you should stand strong and saying, he did a mistake. We have a good strategy, whatever our strategy is.
Okay, now you are talking about, in specific, the battle of Jihad Gresha in Al-Maqassa and Al-Zamalek.
Because this reaction for it, what you mentioned now is just reaction.
Okay, let's continue with this. Zamalek and Al-Maqassa fined after controversial league game. Zamalek lifted the pitch following the referee's decision, denying them a penalty after Al-Maqassa player blocked the ball with his arm.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny for...
Again?
Yeah, it's funny again.
I mean, don't you think that this was a right decision to fine both teams?
Yeah, for sure, it's a funny decision because simply we should think differently in the football. Mistakes, everybody knows that it's penalty, clear penalty.
Yeah.
And the
handball,
yes. Did a mistake. But we can't create crisis. We are creating crisis at the end of the day. The person needs to be blamed. I don't think in the history that we're facing such type of situation in the same way. There is a countries out of the World Cup competition about that. And if we start to count, we'll be in a dilemma, I can say. We'll never reach a position. And it requires a leadership action. Please be calm. This is something happened, and I can say that if we start this, it will be non-stop. It's happened a lot in Arab countries, in Saudi, in UAE, and no one can talk about that. It's clear, it's a mistake, done, will continue. Because you will find a hell of penalties.
You know why the Egyptians were speaking about this? Because of, unfortunately, and I should say that, media. And when people and sports analysts in media go out and say that there is only one case in which this match can be replayed, if Jihad Grisha wrote himself in his report that I did a mistake and it was a penalty, who do so? Who does so?
Yeah, this is actually a very important point.
Yeah.
Whatever your background, you love Ahly or Zamalek, or you was playing in Ahly or Zamalek, when you go to the TV or the media, you need to be a person responsible for what you are saying as a professional analyst.
Completely neutral, objective.
Exactly, not because of your background. It's not a kind of sport, it's not a kind of competition. Second, which is very important, usually they mentioned, as well the instruction in the report, something is incredibly strange. Like, for example, a dog went to the field.
Yeah.
And he was playing, and everybody saw, and he saw. He need to write that. For example, if there is a big fight happen while he's doing something like that. But this is from his opinion. I didn't see it, so I don't need to report it. Yep. And if we went to that and the pressure, we will end with nothing. It's required. You know, the main challenge in the country as well. We end everything with a kind of friendly meeting, and this is we'll avoid that, then it goes. We don't have the system to saying that if you're doing that...
And this has nothing to do with professionalism.
Exactly.
Being professional is the way to succeed.
And
this has nothing to do with that.
And I'm very sad to say that while Abrida was heading the environment, the organization actually in Egypt, or the industry in Egypt. I'm very sad to say that because you used to deal in a level of professionalism while there is a corruption in FIFA, higher than... you should bring that to the country. It's not allowed for you. If you'd like to be out of the competition, there's a penalty for that, and you will be illegal. But we don't have that. It's a kind of funny meeting at the end of nothing.
Unfortunately, many top officials are abiding by the rule. When you are in Rome, do as the Romans are doing.
That's true.
Let's go to some good news with Saudi club Al-Ittihad set to open talks with Egypt Al-Zamalek to sign forward Mahmoud Kahraba on a permanent basis after his distinguished, brilliant performance recently, leading his club to a big triumph. Saudi club Al-Ittihad is set to open talks with Egypt Al-Zamalek to sign forward Mahmoud Kahraba on a permanent basis, as Kahraba, on a one-year loan from Al-Zamalek to Al-Ittihad, was the hero when he scored his team's only goal against the rivals Al-Nasr on Friday to clinch the Saudi Crown Prince Cup title, his first trophy with the Saudi Giants. I became very much happy to know these stories of success of our professionals outside.
He's a nice ambassador. He's a good ambassador. I think he created a chemistry with the Saudi team and Saudi people there. And he make a lot of achievements. That's something we need to be proud of. And I think they are keen to retain. And whatever Murtada, the chairman for Zamalek, is just saying that he needs this and this, I think they will reach an agreement point.
A good deal even.
A good deal for post win-win situation. Because recently they are very happy and they're very glad to keep him as a permanent player. So I think they will reach, but actually he's doing a very good there.
But and sir, if you permit me to say so, is it for the best interest of the guy, of Kahraba himself? I mean, let's be that frank. When it comes to being a professional, you are all the time thinking about the European leagues.
Yes.
And when it comes to the Arabs, with all my respect, they are great financially first, before anything else, and they may be the gate for the European leagues. But now for Kahraba, should he think about just staying there in Saudi Arabia? As for Mohammed Abdel Shafi, with all my respect, he's old enough. I mean, the opportunity in front of him is not like the one in front of Kahraba. Kahraba should think about the European leagues, or he should remain there at least for a while of time in Jeddah.
To be frank, it's different calculation. If you're talking about professionalism, he should think like that. While his age is not that support, he's not 18 years or 20 years old. Kahraba is older than that. So there is an opportunity for him to go there. I'm not saying no. But at the end of the day, when you go to such type of countries, it's your own calculation. For your objective from playing football is different. Because now, yesterday, Kahraba, for example, it's not a joke, it's a reality. They give him a very fancy car as a gift. So I can't mention his name because it will be ad, but it is. So now the guy within this, if there is a person who is saying career coach for him, who will advise him differently, because if he go to Europe, he will gain more and more, like Salah now, for example, as a good example. But the players, they don't have such type of career coach. They are playing and they're gaining money and they go to the next step without a plan. And by the way, if you have a good career coach, he will assign a good people to search for a good club for him to be in Europe. But such type of planning, we don't. We are saying usually when we give such type of coach to the players that you have two sides. Your talk and people talk. People talk like you're doing great, you're getting money, but what's your talk to your individual? This something is very important. This is a good step, but I should go. And this is exactly what someone like Salah when he did, because he wasn't here in Muqawloon, and Ahly and Zamalek offered him. But he decided to go out, okay, because he think right about it. This is actually the formula.
And he was that young.
Yeah, that's true.
He was that young.
That's true.
So he had the opportunity to go and to continue. And if when he want to return back, he is going to be able to choose to which team he's going to play.
Yes.
No, Salah is a different story.
Yeah, but he started
did it
in a very
from a
smart
very
way.
early age and in a very smart way.
Yes.
Taking you to the national team, Egypt advanced into top 20 in FIFA global rankings. The Egyptian national team made it into the top 20 in FIFA monthly global ranking for March, announced on Thursday, climbing 3 positions since February. And Egyptians are also on top of the African and the Arab levels. FIFA world rankings in January, let's have a short list, or the top 10. Argentina, Brazil, Germany, Chile, Belgium, France, Colombia, Portugal, Uruguay, and Spain, meaning that Latin America and Europe are on top of the whole world when it comes to football.
Yes.
Any comment?
Just one comment, that we need to understand how they make the formula to put us out of the 20, because after that we'll agree on a matches. If we didn't score well and it's considered as an international matches, so our score will go down. So we need to be smart. Our score go down, that means our opportunity to hunt I can say matches within big names is this, and the sponsor is going less. So there's a formula for that. So just the people responsible for the football, they understand the formula of it, because we did it a lot, and we go to international match with a bad result, or I can say we're not winning, so we go down, and we start to fight again to go back. This is actually something they need to think about how they do it. That's all.
Let's have a break from football and take you to Taekwondo, as we do have some good news. Let's go first to a very special name. She did great in the last international championship, which was held in Luxor, Radwa Rida. Radwa Rida, now she is #1 worldwide on the international ranking in her weight category, category 53. Do we have a picture for Radwa, just to let our viewers know who is Radwa? Radwa Rida. We do have also Saif Isa. Saif Isa, he is also our Taekwondo international champion. He is also world #1 in his category of 74 kilograms. So congratulations to our good ambassadors. I'm all the time saying that our champions are good ambassadors everywhere. So congratulations, guys, you did great. And I wanted also to say happy birthday to Dina Mishrif. Dina Mishrif, the wonderful Egyptian champion in table tennis. Her birthday was on the 11th of March. So happy birthday, Dina. Yes, this is Dina. Happy birthday, dear. You are all the time doing great, and we are expecting from you a lot. Returning back to football, because those were our local news, and I really wanted to mention the names of our taekwondo players in addition to Dina, to say just happy birthday. By the way, the international pieces of news or headlines are really reflecting what's going on in Egypt, because sports is sports, but the reaction to the incidents is totally different. Paris Saint-Germain boss Emery gets full support despite Barcelona horror show. Paris Saint-Germain coach Unai Emery received the full entire support of the club's Qatari owners on Friday, despite the presiding over their 6-1 Champions League humiliation at Barcelona. Nasser Al-Khalifa told the Le Parisien newspaper, Unai has the qualities in which we believe. He has my full entire support. With him, we will discuss the changes that are needed in the close season. We are going to work to send the strongest signals that will show our ambitions. They are great.
This looks like very clear professionalism in treating case. And at the end of the day, when we reach this point, be sure that he counted on him. He selected him rightly first, and he makes the right filtration. And now he's counted on him when there is a kind of collapse or challenges. This is called leadership, this is called business, and this is called kind of professionalism. Otherwise, every time we sing, that means maybe your national selection was wrong. There's something different. But actually, I highly appreciate such type of thinking. And if we return it back to the history, when we have a stable people in the position, we believe they are right people, we have a right selection. In Ahly, even with our national team, in Gohari time, he stayed for a while. That was a kind of achievement.
But with the Leicester guy, for example, this was not the case.
Yeah, it was a game.
With Vinegar.
Yeah.
Also.
Vinegar, it's extremely, we have exceptional cases. Vinegar is an exceptional case because it's very clear there is a lack of harmony and lack of phrasing and a lot of things. And it happened in Ahly before, and we agreed on that. But when you be in a real mess with the relation...
With Garrido, you mean? Or with the one before?
No, with one after Guzzi. He was a very good coach and ranked number 2 in Portugal. I can't remember his name.
And he was with Al Ahly winning the Confederation Cup back in 2013.
Yes.
And this was his only achievement.
Exactly, exactly. Martin Yol, that means sometimes it is a critical case to require an enemy. By the way, when we reach this point, the coach himself believing we're taking the right decision, because especially if he's foreigner or he's professional enough, when the lack of, but if there's a kind of challenges, normally challenges, we are not in an industry or in a game that we will win every time. So we shouldn't make him panic. Making him panic, making the situation is worse, because he'll get panic and panic and panic.
Sure.
Finger is different because it's very clear. First, Leicester, everybody's not expecting him to continue the same for a different reason. They don't have enough money. Even they have sponsors and all that. He did a miracle before when he
winning
did
the title last season.
And personally, I'm not so happy in the way he left, because it's a kind of game. It's very clean. Everybody in the media in UK is saying that, and everybody attacking the management of the club.
For me, it was humiliating.
Yes,
and I'm not going to go into more details in this, because it was really not a good way to say goodbye even. Let's go to another incident, which also, or another statement from a coach, to be accurate, which also reflects how we should deal with the refereeing issue. Real Madrid do not need help from referees, saying Zinedine Zidane. Real Madrid boss Zinedine Zidane had a pointed message for La Liga rivals Barcelona on Saturday by claiming the European champions do not need to depend on anyone else to win. Barca produced the biggest comeback in Champions League history on Wednesday with a remarkable 6-1 win over Paris Saint-Germain to complete a 6-5 win on aggregate. However, Barca's win was overshadowed by a series of controversial calls for German referee Dennis Aitken as he awarded the Catalans 2 penalties. What about the reaction of Zinedine Zidane first? What about the reaction of Paris Saint-Germain regarding this battle, I should say, in specific? How do you see this, and when this we can see or witness such reactions from the Egyptian competitive sides?
It's very clear. Those people, they know the laws. They know that they will gain nothing. They need to keep their employees focused. They know that at the end of the day, sometimes it's with us, sometimes it's against us. So let's focus on our objective. Let's focus on making it happen. By the way, when you transfer the message to your players that it's not your call and there's an external factor, you're saying to them, very easy, you can lose the match. And such kind of psychology of treatment, even if you talk to them individually, will never succeed. Those people know that they will gain nothing if they complain. There is a law and there is a process to follow, and they will not go in. So they are focused in making it happen. For sure, Zidane is smart in mentioning that it was not fair for Paris Saint-Germain.
By the way, I just wanted to speak about the timing when Zinedine Zidane is sending this message.
Yes.
Because do you think that this is a kind of a psychic war?
Yeah. He's doing that. He's saying that even others can win with a kind of assist, external assist. I don't care. I'm focused and I win. And this is a very strong message. He knows what he's saying and how he's saying it. But at the end of the day, the situation in Egypt is totally different. Because we are going... My challenge is that we are creating crisis because we don't have a concrete law and policies and regulations can apply for all. And this is something that's very critical. Everybody is paying the bill. I can say the election bill for the football and all that.
You know, in our case, in this is the Malik al-Maqasta issue, who is going to pay the dearest price? Gihad Gracia himself. Gihad Gracia was one of three referees, African referees, who were selected the best in Africa.
Yes.
Okay? And he was selected to go to Russia 2018 for participating in the World Cup. And of course, this would be an honor for all Egyptians to have an Egyptian referee doing this there in the most prestigious international world football competition, the World Cup. But now, I don't think that he's going to go. So who is going to pay the dearest price?
We are all paying, by the way, not him. For sure he's paying. And we are paying because there is a lot of challenges and they postponed one match and a lot of things. That's me. The challenge I'm talking about that the message is very clear. Timetable is the same. You should go, and if you're not, we have a lot to follow. And it's happened in Italy before. That if you're thinking that you can use your power, this something is incorrect. But we didn't face that. At the end of the day in Egypt, everything solved by a good lunch or dinner in a place, and everything closed. And we will never succeed like that, because we don't have... So our mindset needs to be changed. Because everybody needs to pay a bill. This is the challenge.
Radwan Gaid of Morocco in yesterday's Al Ahly, he was great, by the way.
Yeah, that's true.
He was
the Moroccan
great.
Man. He was
the
great
Moroccan
one.
Radwan Gaid was really great.
Yes, he was great. Yeah, that's true.
To continue with the international headlines, Russia's Mutko barred from FIFA post. FIFA has barred Russian Deputy Prime Minister Vitaly Mutko, chief organizer of the World Cup, to be held in his country next year from sitting on the World Body's ruling council. And because of what? Because of failing the trust. Mutko, who has also been accused of involvement in Russia's sports doping scandal, is one of 5 European candidates for seats on the FIFA Council to be decided in April. The source said European football governing body UEFA has been told he cannot stand. We are talking about the deputy prime minister of Russia. We are talking about a former minister of sports in Russia. We are talking about someone who had the full support of Russian President Vladimir Putin, even after being involved into the so-called scandal of doping in Russia. But FIFA is a state in itself. No, you are not going to be included into our council.
Because it's a political game. It's not about the individual.
This is what I wanted to know. Is it a kind of winning the elections just a lot of months ahead of that? Is Infantino promoting himself as someone who is not going to accept someone who has something wrong in his background?
Yeah, that's true. You are absolutely right, because such type of selection and such type of putting a names on the table, it's not about qualifications only. It's about the network. It's about the country itself, because Russia all the time having issues with other countries. So we will allow you to do that under our control. You'll not be engaged in that. You'll not be involved in that. Sometimes it goes well if they agreed on it before. If not, they can do that. And Infantino start to act as a real president for FIFA. He start to, I can say, apply his innovation. He's thinking as a purely businessman. And he will make a lot of exchanges. I expect even in the penalty concept itself, that
Infantino?
the way, yeah, the way we're playing.
He is going to interfere to that extent?
Yes, he's interfering to that extent, because in his opinion, I'm the boss. So he can sell his ideas and he can convince the people.
But don't you think that this is going to deprive the game itself from many of its enjoyable elements?
Yeah.
I mean, to have 48 teams to participate in the World Cup starting 2026. I don't know how this is going to be held. And now to interfere into everything, and to even into the tactics, into the technicalities.
The offside, you need to cancel the offside, and they're very keen to do that. I can promise you that after 5 to 7 years maximum, the way we see the football now, it will be totally different. Technology will be playing very important role. I can promise you it will happen, especially with Infantino, because it's a new blood. In the FIFA, who is believing in that. The previous boss wasn't hesitated to do it.
Or maybe he didn't have time. He had time for many other things.
Yes.
But I'd like to continue with Mutko just for 1 minute, because we don't have much time, unfortunately. Mutko said he will not appeal the decision, but stressed it would have no effect on Russia's preparations for the 2018 World Cup. A report by Canadian lawyer for the World Anti-Doping Agency, the WADA, said the sports ministry had organized the doping issue.
They know the game. They know how the game operated, and they act based on that. And those people using their minds in doing business and doing sports rather than doing emotion. So this is the reaction, the normal reaction for them.
Normal or professional reaction?
From those people, it's normal reactions. To be honest, it's normal professional reaction. I expect that.
You expected that?
Yes.
You expected that this is going to be his reaction, even with this humiliating way of saying, no, you are not included?
Because if you go to the process, they have the right to say that. So why not?
So why not?
Yes.
Why not? For us, because we do not accept the fact till the moment that now sports is an industry. And it has nothing to do with
a very high level of emotions.
The old way of dealing with it. Mr. Mohammed Misbah, our sports analyst, and now politics is included, by the way. Thank you very much for your input, sir, and have a very good night.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Well, by this, we come to the end of this episode of Score Sheet. We'll meet again same time on Nile TV International. On behalf of Dr. Mohammed Rabia, Amr Fathallah, the engineer of our studio, Studio 35, and his technicians, Yasser Mohammed, Ragab Manaf, Arif Asharaf, and myself, Nurmeen Abdurrahman. Many thanks for watching, always and forever. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you.